global economic growth could stoke a rise in inflation across the world, ending the era of flat prices and ultra-low interest rates, Mario Draghi has indicated. The head of the European Central Bank said low rates are still needed to support the economy for now as inflation remains subdued, but this may not last for much longer. Inflation has stayed stubbornly low despite rock-bottom rates since the financial crisis, in part because globalization has introduced more cheap goods and low-cost labor to developed economies. But that era could be coming to a close as widespread steady economic growth uses up spare capacity around the world and forces prices up. This is true in the Eurozone and the wider global economy, Mr. Draghi said. As the labor market tightens and uncertainty falls, the relationship between slack and wage growth should begin reasserting itself. But we have to remain patient, he told the Frankfurt European Banking Congress. The same is true for global slack. In fact, as the global economy recovers, the foreign output gap is moving in the same direction as the euro area output gap. He said the Eurozone's economic recovery does now seem to be robust and momentum will continue. Debts have fallen, global trade is recovering, lower unemployment is boosting spending and so creating jobs in a self-sustaining cycle. Growth is more resilient across the currency area, he said. But he also sought to reassure markets that this will not happen just yet and he therefore plans to keep rates low for the time being. We are not yet at a point where the recovery of inflation can be self-sustained without our accommodative policy, said Mr. Draghi. A key motor of the recovery remains the very favorable financing conditions facing firms and households, which are in turn heavily contingent on our policy measures. An ample degree of monetary stimulus remains necessary for underlying inflation pressures to build up and support headline inflation over the medium term. The ECB is slowly cutting back the pace of bond purchases under its quantitative easing program. Meanwhile, growth in the Eurozone's construction sector hinted at a return to growth, expanding by 0.1 pc in September, the first rise in output since April. Slovenia led the way with a 4 pc expansion, followed by the Netherlands with growth of 1.1 pc and Spain at 0.7 pc, Eurostat said.